Hey,
yo, we're back.
What's going on? It's the Change Your Plans podcast.
Yes.
It's Joe, it's Vinny, and
We're back.
I'll tell you right now, this one kind of almost went off without a hitch.
It was pretty smooth.
I was awake. I was here. I was home.
I was even my wife was surprised. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm sitting in the driveway waiting for Joe, of course." Then I saw your beautiful face walk by the window, and I'm like, "All right, he's up."
Right on.
Game face. So it's been a while, my friend. Been a couple weeks, but
Here we are.
We're back in the game. Hope everyone's doing well.
It's a new bottle.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. It's I think this is the one like The Rock makes.
Ooh.
What doesn't The Rock do around here?
You know what I just watched the other day, by the way? I just watched The Rock, Moana 2. I saw that movie.
How did you feel about it? I saw some weird reviews on it, so I don't know. I saw this like crazy, like not like Bible humper because that's an offensive term, but it was, and she was so offended.
Did you say Bible humper or Bible thumper?
Either one.
Okay.
Either one. And she
Equally
was
offensive.
so offended with her that she took her kid out of the movie, and I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Wait,
But
I don't understand. What was she upset about?
I don't know. She said it was a very racist movie, and I'm like, I
racist?
Yeah, I didn't understand, dude. I didn't see the first one. So I'm not ignoring you, by the way. I'm just posting on Facebook. Check us out, and then we'll be back in the game.
I don't understand where the racism comes in.
Dude, I don't know. I don't watch cartoons, man.
All the people in the movie are not. It's not a movie about the whites.
The whites.
The underrepresented in Hollywood whites. Clearly somebody was like, all right, enough of these mid-islander island movies.
They can't really identify where they're from.
Yeah.
But did you like it?
Yeah, I like The Rock. I don't know. He makes funny jokes, you know.
He does. Like he's
playing The Rock
in the movie.
Yes.
That is awesome.
That's who it is. He plays himself more or less. They don't say that's who he's playing. He plays a demigod, but the demigod acts exactly like The Rock. And it's great. It's really funny. A lot of the, and it's a sequel. So there were a lot of jokes from the first movie repeated in the second.
Okay. Did you do you like The Rock with hair or without hair?
I prefer the hair, obvious reasons.
Really?
But yeah, no hair is fine too.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind being The Rock. He's all natural too. That's what I like about him. He doesn't use steroids and stuff. Okay. All right. What else is going on? How was your Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Come on, it couldn't have been that bad.
Look, I can't say too much because I'm going to see these people again in a couple weeks, but
let's assume they watch us, which
maybe they do. Maybe they do. You know when you get together with people, and it's nice to see people.
Yep.
Cousin Josh. I hadn't seen Cousin Josh in years. I'm like, hey, how's it going? Good.
Fantastic.
What's new in archaeology?
You know what I
Nothing.
You know what I don't like is it's cool to see relatives you haven't seen.
Yeah.
But the what's new question.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I haven't seen you in like 18 months. Like,
fill me in.
I don't want to be filled in.
Just fill me in.
I just want, like, the bullet points, you're breathing, you're healthy, no one died, maybe you got a new puppy. That's all I need to know.
We do this weird thing where everybody gets there and it's like a round. Everybody just kind of walks around, and you're like, in theory, you would talk to everybody.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I find most of these people to be not particularly interesting. And when I asked him about the one thing I find interesting, and I don't get any kind of answer, I'm like, what are we doing?
Well, I think it is if you have a large volume of people, then that's what happens, right? Because you only have so much bandwidth for people, right? Like you look around the room and you got to have the what's new conversation 15 times. It's going to be a very limited conversation with me.
You know, the other problem is the grandmother, bless her soul, a great woman, but you hear everything before you get there. And so on the rare occasion, you're like, oh, hey, what are you up to? And they start telling you, and you're like, nah, yeah, Grandma already told me about it.
Sorry, you got something else.
Anything else going on? And it's like, no. And you're like, all right, moving on.
See, that's why I miss my Grandma P, my dad's mom, because she used to love to stir the pot. So we would have like 30 of me in a room, and there's Grandma looking all fragile in a wheelchair, but just like starting rumors and just watching it circulate around the family.
Oh my God.
It was great. I was super low key. As you know, I really don't talk to my father all that much or at all.
Yeah.
So I don't get to see the rest of my family. So we were big into let's stuff as many Provenzanos into a basement as possible and hang out. So now like it's quiet and it's nice. I had a little hung out with my father-in-law and his wife, my mother-in-law, obviously, and my wife, and then my sister had a Friendsgiving. And you know, my sister did it to the nines. So it was very low key. And no complaints. You know, I like it. It's not a lot of people. I don't gotta stress about anything. And I get to go messy other people's houses, which is key. But it's nice when you have like a few people, I think, because you can sit back and actually have some conversations. But it's pretty low key.
I just wanted to watch the football game at 4.
I watched no football, like zero football.
Giants played the Cowboys, and I knew they were going to lose by a lot.
Yeah,
and they did.
Yep.
I just wanted to watch it. I just wanted to watch the game. Yep. I was watching the game for a few minutes, and then somebody turned the game off.
How mad were you?
I left.
You left the party?
I left. Thanksgiving's over.
It's
to my wife, and I'm like, we're getting the hell out of here. Let's grab dessert.
Yep.
We'll make it to go, and we're gonna go home and watch this game.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't watch a lot of football, to be honest with you. But like, I think it's because I don't get a ton of time to sit and talk to my father-in-law. He's just a cool dude. He's done a bunch of shit, and like for me, like everything's new. It's only been around 5 years,
yeah.
So like all these new stories, they're always new. So my wife, funny. You would love this shit, right? So we're at the table. My father-in-law has done a bunch of cool stuff, like gone to like cool boxing events and like fished all over the country. So my wife's at the table and she's like, Dad, remember that boxing match? I could have sworn we went to like a Mike Tyson fight. And he's like, what? She was like, yeah, I think we went and saw Mike Tyson. He's like, no, I took you to a Harvard University basketball game. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's right. And I'm like that's
how
not even
is that
close.
Anything even remotely that's
like
how did
close.
She confuse that?
Like,
did somebody hit somebody in the game?
Yeah, no. So I guess the next night he was going to see like Sugar Ray fight, and so him and his brother, they're twins, like, and they are identical twins. Like wore all these like white tuxes or like whatever they did back in the day. But I'm like, that's not even close to the story you had in your head. It was so weird.
That's wild.
But then the best part is that my wife will just sit there and laugh at herself. Like it's like, and not like a giggle. It's the full belly laugh. And I was dying. But he was telling me that so University of Hartford was trying to keep up with UConn at the time. So they would have like the Beach Boys perform after the game. So if you went to the game, you get to watch the Beach Boys or like Diana Ross or like all these. And I was like, that's kind of a dope thing, you know?
Yeah.
But that was like, but he has all these like cool like stories. So it was good. It was good low key time. And then just back on the grind, working. Kid finished up football on Tuesday.
How'd you do with it?
I did not deal with it well.
No.
What
What kind of emotional reaction did you have?
All right, so I probably have had 3 times I've had tears in my eyes. Last year when he got hurt. This year when it was like a movie scene when he's the last guy on the field with his helmet on underneath the lights. Right? Like, 'cause it's like, it was the first time it hit me like this is almost done. Like, it's almost like you take it for granted. And I'm like, so if I'm feeling that way, I can only imagine how my wife and his dad is feeling because his dad's coached him from Pop Warner, but I'm a mess. And then he called me out, right? He's like, you're crying. And I'm like, well, why do you still have your helmet on if you're not crying? Because that's weird because I know you are. So then I'm like, all right, I'm all right with it, right? Like I'm walking around my house, kind of eggshelly right now because my wife is a delicate flower with this situation. And then I pop on to Instagram. And this kid posted like the saddest post about himself. It's like #3out.
Oh no.
And I'm like in my car at a stoplight. Thank God I have tints on my windows. And I'm like, are you for real, dude? So yeah, it's been a rough couple of days. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think it's the first time I always say, hey, time's your biggest commodity, but like, dude, like I'm glad I never missed anything, but I'm not mad. It sucks that I didn't get to see all of it. And plus he played 6 games this year because he had another concussion.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wild, dude. Like it's kind of crazy. So that kind of sucked a little bit. But I think it also gave me appreciation for like, hey, like I made the right decision not to rush through it. Right. But then I found myself in court on family cases with parents who don't give a shit about spending time with their kid and just arguing about dumb stuff. And I'm like, it's gone in a blink of an eye. But it was crazy. Like, and he's such a funny kid because like all the other kids, even the seniors, we had 14 seniors, they were upset, but they kind of moved on, grabbed the burgers, all joking around. And like Jess is still in the locker room. And then he like walks the full length of the field by himself, helmet on, the whole nine. Like he was taking in the moment, which no one ever does anymore. Everyone's so quick to move on. But yeah, man, that one burned a little bit, you know. And I don't like being an emotional guy. It's not cool.
What's he doing next year? Where's he going?
We don't know yet. So he got.
Is he going to be gone though?
We'll see. He applied to Coastal Carolina, Marist, Sacred Heart. He liked Quinnipiac, Endicott, Plymouth State, and then he got into all the state schools already. Smart kid, National Honor Society. But I think he was so focused on football, he hasn't really put the thought into where he actually wants to be. I'm hoping he doesn't go to Marist because I have no interest in going to Poughkeepsie, New York. Zero. People are like, it's great in the trees. Like, I don't care about any of that. I live in Connecticut. I see it. I think Quinnipiac would be a good fit for him because you kind of get that New Haven vibe, but it's also nestled into that. He likes the mountains and fishing and all that, and it's a small school. But a little part of me wants him to go to Coastal, get out, enjoy life. I don't know though. He's got hair and abs, and he's smart. He's gonna be okay. He's got baseball coming up, so. But yeah, it was a tough one. I feel bad for my wife. She's on the struggle bus, but it's to be expected. And you get to talk. Well, what are we gonna do now? And I'm like, I have a whole bucket list of shit I'm getting back to. I wasn't planning on having kids, so I got a long list of to-dos I need to get back.
Is that exciting? The idea that you guys will kind of have more you alone time?
I'm excited about it. I will say we have.
She's not.
I wouldn't be if I was her. I wouldn't want to spend more time with her.
Have you asked that? She indicated like no.
Yeah, I'm leaving you after my kid's done. You served your purpose.
No, not that. Is she excited at the prospect of more time? I would be excited if I was Claudia.
Well, I think
I'd be very excited right now.
Yeah, I think it's
also a little nervous.
I think it's more nervous in trying to figure out what her next purpose is.
Yeah.
Right? She's been a mom for 18 plus years, right? Like, and she's a super mom. She's like, you know, like everything revolved around him. I mean, we have a good balance in our life of kid, our own lives, and me and Claudia life. But it's really obviously it's been focused on him. So I think she's just trying to figure out, well, what do I get to do? My response is anything you want.
Yeah.
Like, we have that luxury, right? And so I'm excited to see what she ends up doing. But I'm trying to let her breathe and take all this in right now. I'm excited about it. Like, I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I think for me, it's just like, you know, I think football is such a microcosm of life, right? Like, he's been on the top of the world. He's been hurt. He's been on the bottom. And, you know, there was kind of a finality to it. And then it's walking off into his next phase, which I'm excited about because the guy's just a super cool human being, right? Like, I want to kind of see where he ends up. But I'm also excited to see what me and my wife are going to grow into, you know, and see what she's going to do because she does so much with the little time she has. I can only imagine that's going to escalate. But it's also trying to, like, for me to find a balance because I'm gung ho. I cannonball into shit, and so I'm like, whatever he wants to do, I'm gonna go find something new to do. But yeah, and then like watching his dad, like I couldn't imagine being like, you know, coaching the kid since he was 7, and then you're the last guy to walk off the field with him, right? Like, that's all the cool stuff. Like, it's cool being a step parent, like, and I think I understood the value of time a little more because I didn't have that 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like I lived it on fast forward. So it was like every moment, like I was really trying to be checked in. But I don't know if I felt that way after 5 years. I couldn't imagine being like a dad who coached a kid and then watched his last step off a football field and like how I would react, right? Like, but I will say, like, the most impressive thing, yes, he's great at football, is just the impression he's left on the town. The young kids look up to him. But I swear, dude, like, it was like yesterday, like, I got him his first Jordans, and he, like, had this, like, little kid haircut. And now he's like, cool, bro. I don't want to hang out with you. I got friends.
Oh, boy.
Wait until you get to that stage where, like, it's just... Especially having a son, like, you know, I'm sure you're your son's best friend, and then one day he's like, "Nah, bro, I got real best friends," and then I'm just cool when they need to buy stuff. Then I'm the cool guy.
That won't happen with us.
But yeah, so that was that in a nutshell, and then I'm working, and then, you know, trying to focus on some of this coaching stuff more during the past couple weeks. I'm posting some positive videos. Trying to be an inspiration to everybody.
You are an inspiration to lots of people.
That's when you've hit rock bottom.
Well, you know what?
There's the holidays, and there's no better time to do it than
I would say
right now.
I would say so.
So how are you? So let me ask you about Christmas. We got Christmas coming up. You celebrate Christmas? I don't want to assume.
Of course, yeah.
Not everybody does, Joe. I'm just letting you know.
I don't celebrate white Jesus Christmas. Just kidding. I do.
I'm not even.
It's the best kind.
I'm not even going down that pike. Are you do you and your wife like exchange like lists of things you want for Christmas?
No, she gives me a list of a few items that I can get her, and I get them.
Oh, so you guys don't do like a joint gift? No, we're doing a joint gift this year, but I'm probably gonna do something anyways. But like, I hate getting gifts. Like, I'm the worst.
What's
person.
a joint? Oh, like a gift for both of you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So what I think we're gonna do, like, you know how they have those like griddles, those Blackstone, instead of a regular grill, got a cat hair in your drink.
I don't know what that was. Well, I like it.
But I hate gifts. Like, I'm the worst person.
You hate gifts? You hate getting gifts?
Yeah.
Who got you that sweater?
Me.
That sweater's dope.
With the matching hat and matching sweatpants?
Yeah.
It's all the same
It's
company.
a good look, bro. I was going to ask you if the M, it's all
yeah. So it's this
That's
new
pretty
it's
nice.
this new golfing brand. And it's
No
this,
shit.
Yeah. See, this is why my wife complains. I'm the worst person to buy a gift for because if I see something, I just go get it. Like, And, you know, like, I don't like people.
Yeah, nobody would buy that for you. That's
Absolutely
something
not.
that you have to choose.
And I'm weird because every year I switch up my style. So this year I'm more of like a baggy fit. So, like, I don't want you buying me clothes because I have a certain fit. But yeah, I'm a bad person to buy for because I don't need much. Like, I don't need someone to go buy me something for Christmas. Like, I'm pretty sure I already have it. And I like the idea of giving things, like, because my wife and kid, they don't really ask for much. So I'm more of the giving guy, which is weird because everyone thinks I'm a selfish prick sometimes, which is unbelievable.
Really?
I got called today by, it wasn't even my client. It was my client's brother, because my client's in jail, so he can't call me. Oops. He called me a bum ass N-word lawyer, and he's a white guy, by the way. And then a bunch of other, like, you know, punk ass bitch things. And I just kindly reminded him I was more than happy to carry on the conversation when he came into my office. But, like, that was the shit I got called today. Like, and I'm like, I'm just trying to keep your brother out of jail for the rest of his life. You know, he's only facing 90 years in prison, you know, but it's all alleged. You definitely didn't do any of it if you're watching out there.
If you're on the jury, I'll have you know,
dude,
this man was doing charity work that night.
Dude, I spent this week picking a jury. Let me tell you something, everybody. Do not get arrested. And if you do, you do not want to put your life in the hands of
I can only
your
imagine
fellow citizens, because the talent pool of jurors that you are picking from,
is it thin?
Bro, it is beyond wild. There was one guy I almost called Chris Hansen on. Like, I was sitting there with my client, and my client's like, yo, he's weird. And I'm looking at my client, who's not weird, wink, wink.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You're like, wow, where does this guy get off? But
so
solid.
I started a trial, a criminal trial on Monday. So I start evidence on Monday.
Are you excited?
I like it. I'm not excited about the subject. So, older man, younger lady. I'm just going to leave it at that. Not so young that it's illegal if she consents. So the issue is consent, right? And so I like to have these conversations because it really infuriates people. So the way the statute works is that the state is going to claim that this person is physically helpless, therefore can't consent, right? So, but the threshold you have to hit to be physically helpless, and I'm not making this up, the Supreme Court came down with a case. The victim had cerebral palsy. And the court said, well, she could have grunted, bit, or something else. So she wasn't physically helpless, and therefore it wasn't rape. So you can imagine the threshold you have to hit. So while I'm having the discussion with the state attorney and everybody, and I'm like, I get the creepy factor. All she had to do was say no. Like, from a legal standpoint, not from a personal, I'm a fellow citizen, like, do I think X, Y, and Z of this particular person? Don't get it twisted. But from a legal aspect, like, your burden is, if you can grunt, then it's your duty.
What I find so interesting? Everybody in this country is always quick with the, you're not innocent until proven guilty, unless it's a person who's done something you don't like.
Oof.
Then it's like, fry that motherfucker.
Or you got arrested.
Yeah, well, then it's different.
Like, well, see what
not so quick
was,
to judge people. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
So, like, I had this conversation with one of the girls that worked in the courtroom, right? She's like a clerk, and she's like, I don't know how you do this. And I'm like, you have to be able to compartmentalize, but it is not. I'm not saying you're trying to say anyone's innocent. I've never said that in my life. I've been doing criminal work for 20 years. I don't care if you did it.
Right.
It's the burden on the state to prove beyond a reasonable doubt
that you did it.
Right. So you don't like what, and people will be like, can't believe you do this and represent that people until you're in that situation and you need my ass.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality of it. Like, no, do I personally condone things that my clients do? Nope.
No. And why would you?
No. But like, do I like going to trial? Yeah. Because it's kind of a game.
I don't know if people know this or not, people outside the legal profession, but like 97% of cases get settled.
Oh, dude, yeah. No, it's
right. I mean, everybody's always you'll even get to where it's like, all right, jury selection's Monday and it's Friday, and it's like they're fast and furiously trying to settle the case. Nobody wants to go to court on Monday.
Well, no, I had a case. I was on my second day of picking a jury. All right. And we were in Waterbury, and the jury pool was less than stellar. I had one lady show up. She had about 13 tequilas before 9:30 in the morning. Like, it was like amazing.
That's not good.
And then we had this one other guy. Like, he was real pasty, super quiet, and played video games. And I'm like, yeah, buddy. Right. So we're in the day and a half in, and I have a good relationship with this state attorney. Everyone knows, like, I joke around. I know what I'm doing, but I also like to have a good time. And he's looking at me, and I'm like, bro, this is not good. He's like, no, this is not good. Now the allegations that my client was facing is, at a certain time he was 26, and at a certain time this person may have been 13. I'm gonna leave it there.
That math's not mathing.
Yeah, I just said that this week. It's one of my favorite things to say. The math's not mathing. So we ended up getting a deal done. Right? So my client, it's what they call a split sentence. So I'm going to educate some people on how the criminal justice system works. So you get a split sentence, which means you get 10 years, which is probation, execution suspended, which means you don't go to jail, and 5 years of probation. Right? So 10, 0, 5. Seems pretty good when he's facing 70 years.
Yeah.
Right? Then the cherry on the cake is he doesn't have to register.
Wow.
And then he asked me as we're leaving out, he was like, what took so long to get this deal? Like, that is amazing. Like, that is, and then I have to just swallow that shit and I go home. But it's kind of a game. Like, so we're picking a jury this week on this other case. And the way it works is, I hope I'm not boring anyone, but this stuff's kind of fun for me. So he's facing over 20 years. You get 8 like wild cards. Like say you're playing cards, you get 8 wild cards. You could strike the juror for any reason. And then after that, you have to have a cause, right? And cause is difficult. So you're always trying to keep your wild cards in your pocket, right? You're calling the bluff of the state attorney. So we're going back and forth. So what happens is I would go first one time, and then the state attorney goes. And then I got to make a decision if I'm going to keep the juror or use a wild card. And then I'm like, well, I might try to keep this person knowing they're going to blow a wild card, right?
Yeah,
like that's,
yeah.
And so I'm going back and forth, and I jive. I'm a jive turkey. This is what I do. And the state attorney, and she's a great person, like got so like caught up in the banter, she didn't realize it was like my turn. So she was like, Your Honor, we're going to use an exemption. And her partner was like, yo, it's not our turn.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm like, got him. But it's like
rattled. It's
fun like that. But I think from a small firm's perspective, I have to push everything else out. So like I get called in, they give me a 24-hour notice. And then I got to tell all my other clients, hey, all of this stuff is getting burnt, right? Like I had a trial scheduled in Rockville. Court denied my continuance, so I had to call this particular judge to call that judge and tell her to back off. And it all worked out. Everyone was understanding, but it's a little stressful, but it's fun while I'm in it. The logistics of it is difficult, but I've really, going back to the whole football and taking time out, I've really, like this past 2 weeks, I've really tried to take it like moment by moment, day by day, like not get too far ahead of myself, because I think that's where we all get kind of jammed up. I would imagine you're the same way. You got to million projects going on. And if you're not just making sure you're getting through this one to get to the next step, you get overwhelmed.
Yeah. Earlier this week, I got a guy I hired to do some work for me. And because I'm trying to do less of all of the work because it's too much. And so I gave him this and I gave him a deadline. He had like 10 hours to get it done. And told me we get it done. Said he was all over it. And then he messaged me in the morning. And he was like, I this is too much for me. I don't think I can get this thing done. And I said, why didn't you tell me that yesterday? Before I told the client that we'd have it. Yeah. So you know what I did? I went and I cranked it out as quick as humanly possible, and I sent it over. But I mean, my God, good help is hard to find.
It is. I am like super lucky. I got a dope staff. A bit chaotic, but we've all been together forever. And I'm tough on them, but it's a family. I have a young associate. He's super smart. Like, it's annoying. Like, he's a savant with the criminal stuff. Super cocky. Like, I'd be like, hey, you got to go do a trial tomorrow. He might go sit on the judge's bench. He doesn't give two shits. But he did say to me, going to your point about the work stuff, he was like, I ran out of time. Like, I've never said in my 19 years that I ran out of time. Like,
imagine that.
Like, imagine that. But it is the generation of work-life balance. You know, I'm more than a lawyer attitude or more than this type of attitude. But like, when I ask you to do something, I want you to do it.
Yeah, that's got to get done.
Like, I don't want to micromanage either. Like, this is going to sound real petty and people are going to be like, you're a real douche. But like, I get lunch during the day. I make a lot of decisions. I don't want to make a decision about my lunch. So I ask the girls, hey, who's getting lunch? Can someone just get me lunch? And every day it's an argument. They're like, what do you want? And I'm like, I shouldn't have to tell you what I want for lunch because you know me. That's all I ask. And now that I say it out loud in your basement, it sounds real douchey.
Yeah, a little bit.
Little douchey, right? But that's how much I trust my people. Like, you know what I want? I want to see what you think I'm feeling like today. God, that does sound douchey.
That's a lot to ask of somebody.
It is.
What do you think I want for lunch? And you better not be wrong.
I felt so bad. So Bella was in my office today. So, of course, it snowed. So it's the first snow people are calling out. That just happens. So she has the fucking fever all of a sudden. He's got flurry fever. That's what we call
flurry
it.
Fever.
Right. And then my other two got kids and school's canceled because God forbid it's fucking wet outside. And then Bella comes in, who's always the one late because she'll be on her way to work. There's like a fucking magical frog that crossed the road. She had to save it. And then she was almost there, but then there was a pigeon with a broken wing. Like,
oh, that pigeon.
But she showed up.
Yeah.
And then she would panic mode. I was like, yo, I need lunch. And she's like, it's not fair. I'm the only one here. And I'm like, but then I got called in the court, so she got saved. She didn't have to buy me lunch today. They don't buy me lunch, but they got to pick it out. But I do it. Like, I hate making decisions all the time. It does sound real douchey. I got to stop doing that too. You know, it's the only thing worse than that when I'm like, hey, could someone get me water? Because I'm too lazy to walk to the water container to fill up my water holder, my little bottle. So I just yell at people to make them walk from their desk to my office to go get me water.
Let's talk about this family atmosphere that you've created at work. Hold on. And I only bring this up because earlier in the week, somebody I work with who's a real douchebag, and he's backed himself into a corner, and he, in an email, tried to invoke my family, like we're all in this together, and it's like, bitch, not one person here likes you. And this guy's divorced and doesn't even see his own his own kid.
Awful person.
And it's like, bro, you're not even a part of your own family.
Yeah.
Let alone
you are not.
Let alone this
All right.
one.
Yeah.
This one we get to pick and choose, and you're not in it. So I thought that was very interesting to see somebody use that. Now you just said we're like a family. We're like a family. You said that.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't do that to your family. You wouldn't be like, hey, what do you think I want for lunch? Or hey, can you get me some water?
I would.
You would do that. Would you really?
1,000%.
Yeah.
No, it's not even a hesitation.
Do people like that you do that?
No. But
that's an honest question. Maybe they do. Maybe people are like, you know what? I like getting Vinny shit.
Listen, everyone has fun in my office. I might go in the office and someone's laying down in a dog bed and cuddling with dogs.
Yeah.
You know, like, so there's a trade-off. You want unlimited vacation, unlimited dog naps, unlimited walks, and mental health minutes.
Get this guy a goddamn sandwich wherever you picked up lunch. How hard is that?
I'm paying for the lunch anyways. Just figure it out.
What do you think Vin wants?
I don't eat a lot of stuff. Like, I'm either going to get my egg and bacon burger. I'm going to get my steak wrap. And that's literally the two things I asked him to order. Like figure something out.
That's not complicated.
It's not. You know, and in turn, you get a bunch of perks in my office. Like, you don't have to work hard. It's not lying.
I'll tell you right now.
They do work hard.
I, at work sometimes, when it tickles someone's fancy, the hey, who wants to run out and grab breakfast? And legitimately, no one else could really run out and do it.
Yeah.
Only I can. Only I have the ability because I know how to do things.
Yeah, but I hate doing that. I'm not doing that for people.
Oh, no. Well, so here's something cool that I've been doing because I'll run out to Dunkin', but somebody will give me cash.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I got this. And they give me the cash. And I start ordering it through my app.
And you keep the cash?
I keep the cash.
You don't give them the change?
I don't give them the change. By the time I get all the free shit from the points I've been accumulating by being the food runner.
Some money?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm spending $9. I'm walking out with a 20 and breakfast. I mean,
that's key. I will say, though, that my office is pretty good. Like, so Bella, I'm going to tell the story about Bella because she doesn't listen to this thing. So Bella's been with me.
Bella's bad.
Maybe 4 years now, right? So I think it was the beginning of this year. I was like, if you could be on time for 30 days in a row.
Oh, my God.
I'll give you $1,000.
And she didn't do it.
So she got through the first day. And she sent me a selfie that she was at her desk at 9:00.
How proud. Nice.
Yes. So I get to the office and she comes in and she is the proudest peacock you've ever seen. So I'm laughing hysterically. I'm like, don't you find it hilarious that you sent your boss a selfie that you were on time after 3 years? And then I became the bad person because I made fun of her about being on time. And I'm like, well, maybe now she'll learn her lesson. I didn't have to worry about that $1,000. But kudos to her. She's figured out. She's like, hey, I'm picking up breakfast sandwiches. And that's how you get around it. You pick up breakfast sandwiches, then you could be late because she would have been on time, but for the breakfast sandwich.
If you offered me $1,000 to be on time for 30 days, I would be an hour early for all 30 days. And then on the 31st day, I would get there like 4 hours late. And when you're like, why are you late today? I'd be like, because I was spending that $1,000.
Yeah. It's
come on, Bella. That's upsetting.
My favorite is I have Taylor, single mom and 2 kids, super hard worker, and her ex-husband's fucking got an IQ of an acorn, right? So he's just useless human being, and I can't stand him. But every once in a while, like I'll walk by one of our conference rooms and the door's shut. I'm like, that's weird. She hides her kid in the conference room. Bro.
Oh my God, really?
Like, and I don't even think the kid goes to the bathroom. He just sits there and plays video games. And I'm like, I know he's in there. And then or the other day I was in the office and I had like 3 dogs running around. Like, it's an outrageous office.
It is chaotic.
I am Michael Scott though. Like, I am that guy. That's what she said. It's my jam. There is a notebook up front of sayings, full of sayings that I've said over my 14 years at this firm. And if it ever came out, it's like, what is it? The WikiLeaks? They'll put that to shit.
Oh, my
to
God.
Shame. I'd be in prison. I'm going to bring it in one day and we're just going to read it on the podcast.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know why
we'll
we
have a
it.
reading party. We'll be sophisticated,
Yeah.
So
real family atmosphere over there at work.
I do. I love it. It is I will tell you, my staff is so ride or die. When I was going through my divorce, so I was moving into an apartment. Never lived on my own in my life. I went from parents' basement to condo with my ex-wife and then house. So I'm moving and I had no idea what to buy for an apartment. So I told my Natasha, who's like my adopted daughter, like they're all like my kids. I'm like, yo, you need to go buy all my shit for my apartment. I just gave her a wad of money, forks, toothpaste, like whatever I needed. It was great. It was like having a person. And I got in my apartment and she decked it all out for me because I can't function without my staff in life. Like Bella brings my dog home from work when I need it. It's great. It's a great little family, But I think in my heart on them at times, I think the problem I have is it's that line, right, of like boss and friend. But it's worth it. Like I got staff, like I probably got too many staff for like a small firm, but we're all like, I have Monsi, who was just like a random intern. I don't even know when she started. I don't know who hired her. And now she works for us. And I need her. Like I need everybody, but like we're a little firm, but it's fun. It's a good time. It makes my days better. They also, they know I get kind of mad. I go silent too, like, which is the worst. Mad.
Oh no.
Yeah. So Natasha has been with me like forever and I bust her ass all the time. So she walked out on me one day. Like, and it was over something so crazy stupid. Like I say crazy shit all the time in the office. Crazy. Like she was pregnant and walking down the like hallway and she already walks like she weighs that 7,000 pounds, but she doesn't. She's just got the heaviest feet I've ever heard in my life. And then she's pregnant. So like I may have mood.
Oh my God.
Right. And she didn't even get mad at me. She laughed. So like one day we're at the bar at a new associate. I just slid her my keys. I'm like, hey, go get a chapstick out of my car. It's just nonchalant. Now that I say it out loud, that sounds like real douchey.
This fucking guy. Oh my God.
Then maybe that's why she walked out. So my whole point was she came back and she thought she was gonna win on the silent treatment because she's like me.
Yeah.
When we get mad, we get silent. Ain't no one winning that game. I am the worst.
Go get my chapstick.
Yes. I think it was my chapstick. It was.
I think it's in the door. Might be in the center console. Go get it.
Yeah, now maybe we'll do maybe we'll do a checklist of things that I do at the office that are douchey. That'll be like a whole episode of
could be a real eye opener, don't you think?
Yeah, it's like because then I'm like sometimes I need some cash. I'm like, hey, could you go in my car? It's here, and there's probably like a big wad of cash, and I'm like, and I know how much I pay my people, and they're like, this guy.
He's just got some. He just got petty cash, just sitting in the cup holder.
But it does sound bad now.
Yeah.
And then I felt bad because I had to go to court today, and the crazy dude who called me the N-word, even though he's white. And I mean, if it was like a black dude called me it, then I'm like, okay, I'm at the barbecue. Like, I'm not even mad at my client, even if it was in an angry manner. I'm like, all right, because you cannot tell me that it's not one of the proudest moments of a white person's existence. If you got that one dude, like you guys are just boys, and he's like, yo, he's my, and you're like, you know what? I'm telling all my white friends. It's a fact. Go ahead, check it. Ask anybody, as long as you don't get offended, and don't say the word if you're white.
Yeah, no, don't say it. No, you know it's funny. I've had black friends who have been like, yeah, you can say you're good, and I'm like, I appreciate that.
Yeah, appreciate it, but I'm not good.
Yeah, I'm not risking it. Duly noted. However,
not risking.
Will not be partaking. But thank you. Thank you for the offer.
We're gonna go with an honest question and answer. you're in the car. I happen to like some rap music.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you're out there. Verse comes on. You're like, yo, I'm in it. I'm a rapper. Word comes up. What are you doing?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I have a daughter who's 22.
Okay.
And my God, if I were to say, LeBron James is a black guy, she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, nope, you can say people are black. You're not supposed to say that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Right now, recently, her friend came over and she was talking about KFC came up, Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I don't know if I'm gonna like where this is going.
No, you're gonna like where this is going. It's the Chappelle bit. It's a Dave Chappelle bit. She was talking about if we ordered KFC, and her friend said, because I go, don't that come with a biscuit? What's with the attitude? Is what I said. That's the Dave Chappelle bit. I don't know if you guys remember. He talks about if he went to KFC and the people behind the counter were in the KKK. Would he stay or would he go? And in this day and age, Dave says he would stay. But in the joke, the guy behind the counter says, after he orders, he goes, do you want a biscuit with that? And he says the N-word. And Chappelle goes, I thought it came with a biscuit. What's with the attitude? I think that is right. It's a hilarious bit. So her friend literally goes, I think it comes with a biscuit. I had to do it. I had to do the bit.
What was her reaction? Did they get it?
She thought it was hilarious, and my daughter was like, Dad. She's like, that's racist.
Yeah.
I said, it's not racist.
It's not.
Let me explain what racism is, I told her. I said, racism is when you use your power and influence to negatively affect somebody based on their skin color.
Yeah.
That's what racism is. Or depriving somebody of a right based on their skin
color. Yeah.
Acknowledging that someone is black. And you can ask black people this if you're not sure. It's not racist.
Dude, I gotta get on this topic because my wife, I'm not gonna tell her who she works for, but they teach. Like, she had a book in her office that you are not to acknowledge color. Like, you don't see
stupid
color, which is more offensive,
right,
than anything in the world. Like, it's just like, we don't acknowledge history and we're all equal. Like, eat shit. Like, and I was so, I get so infuriated. There's not many things that piss me off more than racist shit. Like, regardless of the color. Like, it's just so lazy. It's so ignorant. And what's even worse is when people don't even acknowledge it. Like, this whole, like, why is it even a topic now? Is, you know who says that? People who don't have to face racism.
Yes.
Like, that's just, the only people who say that are white people.
Yes, or they go, you make everything about race. And it's like, if you were black or just Hispanic, not white, you would realize how important being white is. Like, if you want the full on American experience,
you want the full smorgasbord of shit, the full buffet, not just the breakfast,
you're gonna want to be a white guy.
You're gonna want to be white. Like, you know what? Like, but I will give props to the Asian community because I think they because there's like Asians is just such a huge group.
A lot of Asians.
It's like within Asians, there's a whole bunch of different ethnicities and countries, and they all just get lumped into you're Chinese or Korean. Like, and they're just like, meh.
Yeah.
You know, but like I think it's super infuriating and lazy, and it just makes me like so mad. But then my kid has his best friend's Paul, right? And he's like a quarter black, but he takes full advantage of that quarter.
Good for him. Yeah.
That's what I'm
Got a
saying.
tip.
And
Got
he
a tip.
knows it. So he comes to my house and he might be living with us this summer. So I'm like, sweet. I gotta, yeah, I'm good. And he just be dropping words that I can't say. And he's like, you know, you want to, but you can't because you're not quarter black like me. And I'm like, you
Damn it, you quarter black.
you son of a gun. But he's funny, but it does infuriate me. They like, hey, we don't see. Cause I remember there was a judge. I'm not gonna say what courthouse, but saying some real like old like white like just saying crazy stuff, and I was super uncomfortable. And my buddy who's black was, he's an attorney, and he was just standing there defending his client, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, and everyone else was like, because there's a bunch of old white dudes in the courtroom. But the worst was the same guy. I was like, listen, could you just cover this continuance for me? I got to run. Just stand there with my client, whatever. And then I'm walking out of the courthouse, and I got referred to him by like somebody else. He was like a vet. And I didn't realize he dropped like the N-word, which is a no-no for me. I typically don't represent that. I don't care what happens, but like I'm already in it. And so I'm in the parking lot, and I'm like, I run back in the court, and I'm like, bro, I got it covered. So I'm sitting there, and they're reading the charges, and my buddy looks at me, and he's like, bro, I can't be representing a guy who's just dropping the N-word, a white dude, and I'm a black attorney. And I'm like,
yeah.
I was like, that's why he came back.
That's great.
But it was crazy. So, that's how I feel about that. I don't know how we got on that topic.
I feel like we've covered some interesting
we
ground
did.
tonight.
Are we going to pick a card tonight?
Yeah, we should pick a card.
I feel like this is a strong episode too. By the way, I don't want to brag, but we came back.
Yeah,
we came back with some heat.
I think we knew we were gonna too.
Yeah. We were talking about it upstairs.
We did. We literally talked about it, and then we came and we did it. Ooh, I kind of like this.
All right, we got a card. Do we have anyone watching tonight? By the way.
Yeah, I don't know if the comments aren't working or what, because we haven't seen much in the way of the comments.
That's all right though.
Maybe you guys just don't have anything to say.
Yo, who's this creeper?
Come on, dude. What are you doing?
This is a professional show, sir.
What do you want? What do you got to say?
You're not a professional.
Oh my God! Why would you say that to Vinny? That was terrible.
It's all right, dude.
He's only kidding. You can come over here. Come over here and read this card for me.
Let's read the card. Come on.
You're the only one that's sober. Come here.
Without the pillow on your head, you weirdo.
Get rid of the pillow. Read the card.
What has been the biggest obstacle during your journey?
Yeah. What has been the biggest obstacle during your journey?
You going first?
I'll go first.
Good.
My kids.
Facts. You could be so much better without them.
I'll tell you right now, having kids is the hardest thing you're going to do. It really is. It's a very difficult thing. For instance, that adorable kid that you just saw, this kid he's a sweet boy. He likes to get stuff. And when I ask him to earn his way, he flips out. Absolutely flips out. He's a little ungrateful at times. Yeah.
Wow, your dad is just spitting facts in your face.
What do you got to say about that, pal?
Turn off the live stream.
Yeah.
Upload it.
Yeah.
No, honestly, and I say that not in a bad way, but your kids are. They're if you have children, they are a huge obstacle. I was 25. I was just breaking into the media business, and I had my oldest daughter, and it was hard. It's a hard thing to do, And you also, because you want to be in your kid's life, and you want your kid to be around and see most of the stuff that you're doing, or to be a part of what you're doing. But having children and having multiple children is definitely an obstacle. Because the other thing too is, you could break up with a spouse.
Can't break up with your kid. That's
cannot break up with you. I mean, I guess you could be an asshole and break up with your kid. But if you're a decent human being, you cannot break up with your kid. And so, and I remember, with my older two daughters, when I got divorced, she didn't want anything to do with them really. So it was all, and I say it fell on me. It didn't, because, I would have fought her for the kids had she been interested, but
no, but it's a
challenge. It really is.
It has to be a lot. Like, I always look at the people who have multiple kids and that balance. And it's probably the most amazing thing I've seen. I tell people all the time, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I got a great kid and I missed all the hard years. Right. And so I couldn't imagine, because you're trying, especially for 25, you're trying to find your foothold and like what you're doing in life, but also you're responsible for molding this young person to make sure they're going to be okay down the line. But I will tell you, having, and this, because your two daughters are older, is, I think for me, the whole kid thing is just like realizing how fast time goes by. Right? Who do you got here?
Maybe being married to a divorce attorney.
Yeah, that's my boy Scott, dude. That's one of my besties. So he's
speaking from experience. Yeah.
So my boy Scott and his wife Kelly introduced me to Claudia. So
no
way.
Yeah.
So Kelly and Claudia are best friends, and me and Scotty became best buddies. So we just went to Puerto Rico together. So
come on.
Yeah, buddy. I can't believe he's on. But I think that's the but I always find it amazing how people can balance, especially with young kids. Like, I don't have the patience for it, so I don't regret not having the a baby, like, in going through that process, because I know what I'm good at, and I was lucky enough to be in my lane and kind of, like, not to brag, but I walked into like fatherhood pretty quickly, and it was seamless, but it was at that age. But yeah, I would imagine. I think my biggest, your
biggest obstacle during your journey.
I think it's just being me. I tend to get in my own way a lot.
Funny you say that, but I don't want to cut you off. Yeah. I was thinking to myself, for anybody who is watching, and if the answer to this question, what has been the biggest obstacle during your journey, it's myself, you should talk to this guy.
I appreciate that, but now I'm going through the same thing everyone else is, but I think it's me. I'll even be honest, in my life coaching endeavor, like, I go all in, and then inevitably I take a step back. I'm like, okay, it didn't work. So, like, it's just, or I have this idea, and then there is a spot where I'm like, I just don't take it to the next level. So I think that's been my biggest obstacle, but it's been my biggest motivation, knowing that that's my obstacle. So, like, I really focus, like I told you, especially the past 2-3 weeks, really focusing on that and be like, okay, like, we got this new podcast equipment. I'm like, oh man, I got these thoughts. Like, okay, well, I'm going to do this to get to this, so I could do this. But yeah, like, that, it's funny because I can help people get out of their own way. It's like that whole, like, shoemaker, like, whatever, thing. Like, I could help people get out of their stuff, but it's my biggest hurdle for myself. So yeah.
I go out of my way to make sure that I'm not an obstacle to myself.
We know. We all know.
That's why I like myself so much. It's funny. I actually edit. I edit a podcast and produce a podcast for a law firm out of Boston.
Yep.
No, the main firm's in Boston. The lawyer that does it's out of New Jersey, but whatevs. And one of the questions she asks all of her guests is the opposite of this one, which I thought was super interesting. She asks everybody, right? These people, lawyers, insurance people, all people in the industry, what advice would you give your younger self? But that's not what this question's asking.
Okay.
This question is, what advice would your older self give to you right now? That's a very interesting and very different question.
So, like
what advice would your older self
give me now?
Yes. So Vin at 80, what would Vin at 80 say to Vin in his 40s?
I think it goes along with the question of the obstacle, like just not to be corny, but to do it, like do stuff. Like if you have an idea, like I think it's more take more action. I think that's what my older self would say. Like just do it, like just take that step, because I have all these ideas and I'm like, it's great, and they go off in Neverland. So I think that's what my older self would tell me. Just what do you got to lose, man? Like do it. And if it doesn't work, cool. You'll always land on your feet, right? Like I heard something today, and I think this is probably what I would tell myself, is that you always get through the bad day. Like you always, unless you fucking die, like you get through the bad day. And I think it's just my older self would be like, I don't want to be 80 and be like, I should have done. Like, right? Like I should have lived my life. I want to be able to say, you know what? I lived it. And I think that's the biggest thing, is like live to live. Like just don't live to survive. Man, I like that one, dude.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, I like that. I like that question. What about you?
Older me, you know what he's saying right now?
This is gonna be good.
Ready?
This is gonna be fucking. Don't change a thing.
Bend at the knees. Drink more water. Apply the sunscreen. That's what older me is saying to me right now. Do that stuff. Do that stuff. I'll say this, and the reason I would say that that's what the advice is, right? I'm 49, and I had a heart attack a year and a half ago. And I'll tell you right now, I don't plan on having another one. And I've gone out of my way to lose weight, get in better shape, stay on top of my health. Right? So again, I'm not going to be the obstacle that takes me out. My doctor tells me the things that I can do to be healthier. I do all of that shit. All of it.
Yeah.
To Bella, 30 days be on time for are you serious? I don't mean to pick on Bella.
Don't pick on Bella. I love Bella.
But I'll tell you right now, bro, 30 days in a row, I would have been there an hour and a half early.
I know. But
an hour and a half early, and then day 31. Hey, Vin.
But
see you tomorrow, bitch.
I know if I ask Bella to do something, I'm like, Bella, you need to take care of my dog.
I love Bella. I don't know Bella, and I don't mean to pick on Bella, but to me, that's one of those things where it's like, you know, and this is what I try to tell my son all the time, because he hates, and young people today, they really struggle with the payoff.
Yeah.
It's hard to look at somebody under 30 years old and be like, if you can do this for 30 days, I do that with my son all the time. If you do this for 3 weeks, because 3 weeks is habit forming.
Yeah.
I use 3 weeks a lot. You used a month with Bella, and they couldn't do it. And it's like, oh my God, you guys. Sometimes you don't get the instant gratification. Sometimes you got to chip away at something. You got to work at it. You got to earn your way to it. And you know what? That's how you're going to get places in this world. That's how you're going to get places in life. And that's how you're going to get shit done. Chip away.
But
you're not going to knock it all out in one day.
But I've been reading this book, and I will say that Bella 100% acknowledges, like, listen, this is just, I've been like this my whole life. It's not my strength.
How old is she?
I'm 20. Just let me finish. Right. But she will tell you, this is what I'm good at. So as a manager of people, I'd rather have someone say, hey, this is my weakness, and here's my strengths. So I could put her in a position just to use her strengths.
Yeah.
Like, yes, would I do a lot of things for $1,000? Absolutely. But she's not motivated by that, right? So my job is to figure out, okay, what is the motivation factor, and where could I put her and success? And I will say, and she has done leaps and bounds of where she was. but it's also I came to a realization that like instead of me getting frustrated all the time, but like okay, it's the benefits versus the negatives, right? And okay, this is that I'm not a big fan of, but she's doing this, and I can put her in those situations. But it's also that comes back to what I'm doing and how I perceive things and how I eval things, right? I can't be mad at having someone in my life who consistently does something, right? When they're consistently doing it, then that's them, right? So now it's my choice to say, hey, they're either going to be in my life or not be in my life, right? It's like when people ask, well, were you mad at your ex-wife because X, Y, and Z? No, because I knew what I was getting into, right? I was like, listen, if you would have just said, hey, I don't love you anymore, I wouldn't be mad because you're just being you, right? Like the only person I can be mad at is like, okay, she's being her, and I'm going to be mad at myself if I hate the situation. I'm just tolerating it, right? So I think I've been really trying to focus on and like being like, okay, I control everything that's in my life, like everything, and it's just whether I want you in it or not. And I think it like Scott said, like, you know, don't sweat the small stuff, right? Like I think that's such a universal, like it's got to be one of the oldest sayings like ever, right? Like, oh, your parents like don't sweat the small stuff, but it's you decide what's small or not,
Right?
Like, and frankly, everything's small because this life is moments. Like everything is small, like it's just you're gonna move on from that moment, and so it's really just trying to focus on that. I got to say hi to Christy too. She just popped on. Big shout out to Christy. Been friends forever. She's been killing it. So she's been responsible for the K9 cop crew in Bristol and raising money to get the funds for the police department to get those dogs. Her dad started the project way back in the day, and she's been killing it. So shout out. She's super supportive.
Very nice.
But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just we control it, right? It's like this podcast we're doing tonight. Like, yeah, I mean, you were spry when I walked in here, and I'm like, I like your energy, Joe. And I'm like, we were walking upstairs, but like, yo, we're gonna kill it. And like, we came in with that attitude, and I'm not gonna do my own horn, but yo, we killed this one.
It was about not getting in our own way tonight.
I know. I like how this came full circle. This is
Right?
why we work well together. Yeah, buddy. So cheers to us. Change of Plans podcast. We're back at it. I know we've been MIA a little bit. I've been getting complaints how we don't post enough. We don't do enough podcasting.
That's good to hear.
It is. I'm glad everyone loves us. It's holiday season.
It's not a problem to do more.
Yeah, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna have me and Joe were talking. We might have a little bit of like a Change of Plans car rides, quick little podcast. Got some new equipment.
Yeah.
New stuff on the horizon. If you guys have any ideas, let us know. But thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, we
This
could
was
do
a good one.
We could podcast from your house.
Yeah, listen, you want to be on the show? We come to you.
We'll come right at it.
Only if you had wood paneling in the background, though.
Changeofplanct.com.
Love you.
We'll see you guys next time.